first occasion upon which a trial has been held in this courtroom, so there's been a few little technical issues that I'm sure we'll work our way through. But thank you, everybody. Now, I took appearances yesterday, so unless there's any need to take appearances again, we'll take those appearances as continuing. Now, are there any housekeeping matters before we go to the evidence? Mr. Landis, I saw the documents that you sent through. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Your Honour. One other housekeeping issue is how the trial bundle is to be treated in terms of evidence.
Yes.
What I would propose, Your Honour, is that if there is a document that's in the bundle that's referred to by a party or a witness, that forms part of the evidence of the proceedings and the remainder just falls away.
Yes. Well, Mr. Vivaro, do you have any comment on that?
No comment, Your Honour. I'd like, I take advantage of that just to inform you that I am ready to answer to your question if you want, or else we can postpone later on when you wish.
No, I think it'd be helpful if you answer that before we hear the evidence. But just before we leave that, then the position with the trial bundle is that it will be received in evidence. All the documents in the bundle will be received in evidence on condition that they are referred to either by a witness in a statement or in evidence or by counsel in submissions. If the documents aren't referred to in that way, then they won't form part of the record, because there's a lot of documents in there that nobody refers to. So thank you for that. So that'll be on the record. Now, Mr. Vivaro, you are going to answer the questions I posed yesterday.
Yes, Your Honour. I'd like to start with the question related to the combination of liquidated damages and the loss of profit according to the UAE law. Yes. I'd like to draw your attention that this contract is regulated by the UAE law, and mainly and exactly by the UAE Federal Law number 5, 1985, which is the civil code. There are different provisions related to the compensation in case of loss of profit, but the article which I'd like to draw your attention is exactly Article 390 of the above mentioned civil code, and specifically second paragraph, where it is clearly stated that even if there is a fixed amount of compensation, which is a provision of paragraph number 1, but in any case the judge may vary such agreement as to make the compensation equal to the loss. This is specifically the translation from Arabic, official translation from Arabic to English, the one which I mentioned right now. So we believe that considering that from our perspective, the loss which the defendant suffered because of the delay is over the liquidated damages on which the parties agreed for 10,000 dirhams per day, but to the cap of 10% of the total amount. Considering that we believe that the losses suffered by the defendant is higher, we believe that this article might be applied, and Your Honour has this court has the full power to determine also our claim in relation to the loss of profit.
Thank you for that. I'll need to look at the article, and no doubt Mr. Landis will want to take that on board and come back to me with his submissions on that. So thank you for that. And is there anything else you'd like to address in terms of the matters I raised yesterday?
Yes, okay. The second point is related. The second point is related to the variation. Yesterday we made a very careful double checking of the variation, and most of them have been approved by the defendant. With your permission and with the consent of my esteemed colleague, I can provide, not this morning because this is only a draft, we can provide also a list of the variation approved and not approved. Or else, if alternatively, I can mention one by one, but it will take longer time. So up to you, up your.
Well, I'll just, Mr. Landis sent through a document this morning, I assume you've seen that, in which he has attempted to set out the variations that he considers approved or not approved. Have you had a chance to look at that?
No, unfortunately, no, because we got these documents at around 8:15
Yes.
or even later, and actually I was in the car just
Yes.
to reach the court. So
Yes.
unfortunately, I have not had the chance to read the documents, but.
Well,
I
I'll
can
just
do
ask Mr. Landis. Mr. Landis, do you need to know which variations are an issue in order to deal with the evidence today?
No, Your Honour. The position is that I don't anticipate there'll be any dispute from my learned friend about what's been approved and not approved.
All right.
And we've taken on board Your Honour's comments from yesterday about
Right.
the
Okay.
non-approved.
Well, thank you, Mr. Vivaro. If you could produce that document in due course, perhaps before we get to tomorrow, if you could produce it later today, the document setting out your version of what's approved and what's not approved. And perhaps you might also like to refer to the document Mr. Landis has produced and see if there's any difference between you in that regard. That would be most helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yes. Now, and anything else, Mr. Vivaro?
Yes. Maybe yesterday there was a misunderstanding. I didn't. Maybe yesterday I wasn't clear enough about the variation and the matching with the MERAS manual. Actually, I'd like to clarify this point. From our perspective, the burden of proof is obviously on the claimant, and the claimant, among other things, the claimant, in our opinion, has to provide evidence that the works that I refer to the variation, the works are not already outlined in the agreement and in the appendixes, including MERAS manual, contact drawing, and comments by MERAS.
Yes.
This is what I suppose, I believe it is important to underline.
Right. So you don't have a positive case in relation to non-compliance with the MERAS manual. Your proposition is that the claimant must prove compliance. Is that right?
Exactly, yes.
Yes, right.
And the claimant has also to prove that the works were necessary.
Yes.
Because they were necessary, and that the works were completed and properly conducted. This
Yes.
is our proposition.
Yes, all right. Thank you for that, Mr.
Thank
Vivaro.
you.
That's been very helpful. Thank you. Mr. Landis, anything before we get into the evidence?
No, Your Honour.
All right, thank you. Would you like to call your first witness?
Thank you, Your Honour. The claimant calls AJ Kumar.
And the witness statement is, can you help me?
The first statement, there's two, Your Honour. The first appears at page 192.
Yes, I have that,
And
thank you.
there's a responsive statement that he'll also be tendering, which appears at page 199.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Kumar, would you like to come forward, please, and go into the witness box?
Can you please state your name and residential address for the court's record?
Yeah, my name is Ajay Kumar, and whatever I will say, it will be true.
Can you raise your left hand, please? No. And keep your right hand on the book. Yes, please. Please repeat after me.
I swear by what I believe to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Please have a seat, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you.
Mr. Landis.
Mr. Kumar, do you have, I'm not sure what the witness is seeing on the screen, Your Honour. Could the witness be shown page 192 of the trial bundle, please?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we can see the pages from there. Okay.
Mr. Kumar, would you read through that statement?
So,
Is there anything you wish to change in that statement?
Yeah, there is some minor error in the dates and this. That's what I just want to make a minor modification.
What are those changes then, Mr. Kumar?
It's like the first things of what I have mentioned. I was the ME worker in the levels. The point number 14.
Yes.
On 18 December 2021, the MEP work completed. It says substantially completed, not 100%.
Right. Is that true also of the fit-out works? They were substantially complete. The next sentence says the fit-out works were completed on 19 December. Should that be substantially complete?
That is true.
That is true. Okay.
It's only the MEP because there was some work related to the variation which were carried out in the rooftop toilet.
Yes.
Because of the main contractor hired by the client.
Yes, all right, thank you.
With that change, does Your Honour wish me to tender that?
No, that'll be received as part of the bundle, so
Thank
we'll
you.
just treat that as change.
Thank you. Could the witness now be shown page 199?
Okay.
And read through that document, Mr. Kumar, and please let us know if there are any changes you wish to make to that.
That one also, there's a minor date change, point number 3.
Yes.
I refer to the variation date at 30th October. Actually, it was 27 October 2021, not 2023.
Thank you.
So that's paragraph 7.
That was paragraph 3, Your Honour, the
Paragraph
last
3.
line.
Thank you. Should be 30 October 2021.
27 October 2021.
27 October 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any other amendments that you would like to make?
All is okay.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Landis. Mr. Vivare, do you have any questions for Mr. Kumar?
Yes, Your Honour, thank you. I have a certain number of questions. So I'd like, first of all, I'd like to know for how long have you worked on the site?
For the entire period, okay, I was the main MEP project manager, okay, because the contract is signed on my name, the fit-out MEP work, and I was always in the projects and attending all the meeting with the clients, project representative and consultants in and out, not the present at site 100%, but always a part of the projects.
So more or less starting from March 2020?
From the beginning, from kickoff meeting,
Sorry?
from the beginning of the projects,
Okay.
I was the part of this project.
Yes, my question is not if you were part or not. My question is if you worked on the site.
Now, on the side, not 24 hours.
Okay, how long, more or less, every day?
Every day, the alternative, I was visiting the site, sometime twice in a week. If it's required, sometime more than twice in a week.
So you, let me say that you used to go there a couple of times per week.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. Which was your position, your role on the site? Because in your witness statement, I read that you were in charge for administration. Am I right? Maybe if I'm not wrong, you were.
I was the MEP project manager, as I mentioned. Currently, I am working as a MEP operation manager in Bond and Leader. But the project, I was a MEP project manager.
So, in your witness statement, you stated that you are in charge for operations as operations manager.
That is, I am employed as a operation manager right now. But during the project executions in 2020 and 2021, I was the MEP project manager.
Okay. Basically, which was your responsibility for this project?
The responsibility, I was the full responsible for the MEP work.
Sorry?
I was fully responsible as a project manager for the contract which is linked to the MEP, fit out for MEP.
Okay, but it's not clear to me if your responsibility was technical or administrative, or both.
Both.
Both. Okay, can I ask you, if you don't mind, which is your education background?
Sorry, come again?
Your education background, your
Location
education, yes.
means in UAE or
Anywhere in the world. Which if
I
you
am
are,
from India, Punjab.
that's very good.
Yeah.
And okay, but maybe it's not clear. Did you do you have a university degree?
Yes, I have university.
Okay, in which subject? Are you an
Mechanical.
engineer? You are
I'm a mechanical engineer.
technical engineer. Okay, so at least we know. More or less, how many workers there were on the side for MEP works?
Before MEP work
For them to work, how many people, how many
during
works were?
or during the MEP work?
Mhm.
It's
More
more
or
or
less.
less like always average is, if I am not wrong, maybe sometimes 50, sometimes more, sometimes less, depend on the requirement. But I do not remember the exact figure right now because it's long time back.
So the figure you said was 50? 50 what?
The 50, sometimes it's less, sometimes
But 50,
goes
yes,
to
thank you.
80 also. It's depend on the requirements.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Do you have in your company any records about the number of workers which were on the site time by time? Or you don't have any records?
We can get out from the minutes of meeting, but I do not remember exactly.
Of course, this is not a test of memory. It's only just this is just to check the information.
Because there is a manpower allocations report, I believe, from the main contractor also, where we were giving the feedback from our side.
Okay. You asserted in your witness statement that all delays incurred due to appointment of ELV contractor. Can you explain exactly this assertion?
The ELB is like the low current system. If you want to know in the details, like in these rooms, the cameras, the voice data, the Wi-Fi, these all things, it's a ELB work, okay? And the point which I have referred, even after appointing bond as a MEP contractor, there was no contractor from client side who will commence the ELB work. So our work was affecting because of that, because our work was to keep the containment for that.
Okay. In your letter dated the 28th of July 2020, you listed the critical issues of the project. The listed issues are related to the MEP work or also related to fit-out contract.
Your Honour,
Now I will give you
I think the letter should be put to the
the
witness.
page number. So just one moment. Sorry, just one moment. Where is it? No, 2028. 2020. Or 23rd. Can you go back? It's not in the time bundle. Okay. Okay, it's not in the child bundle, I have been informed, but you mentioned it in your witness statement. So I can't
I
unfortunately
have
give
mentioned
you
many
any.
letter in my witness statement.
But unfortunately, I can't give you the number because it has not been included.
Where is it referred to in which witness statement is it?
The witness statement of are you asking me the page?
Yeah, well,
Or the
what
witness-
paragraph number of the witness statement? Which statement and which paragraph number?
Your Honour, it looks as though the letter isn't in there, although if it assists my learned friend...
Okay, paragraph 6.
Paragraph 6?
Paragraph
Yes.
6.
So it's 28 July 2020?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes, all right.
But unfortunately, it is not in the child bundle.
I think the point that my friend is going to make is there's a list of 10 reasons that is in that letter. Mr. Bowler extracts part of that letter in his report.
Well, if it's referred to in the witness statement, it should be in the bundle.
It should be, Your Honour, yes, that's the name.
All right, well, can we fix the bundle by including it? And in the meantime, are there hard copies we can work from?
No, there won't be a hard copy. I can see if I can procure a soft copy
All right.
and email it through to the court.
Well, because I think, out of fairness, I think we need the
Absolutely,
full
yes.
copy of the letter, not just part of it.
Yes, Your Honour.
So can we, do you want 5 minutes to try and procure a soft copy?
Yes, please.
All right, well, why don't I rise for 5 minutes and we'll resume as soon as we're ready.
Thank you, Your Honour.
Thank you. Call adjourned.
All right.
Yeah, I can get 2 minutes. Would you email it through to you?
If you email it through to the registry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, I have a hard copy of the letter. Does everybody else have one as well?
We do, Your Honour. And if it would make it easier for later on, we can
Yes.
certainly add this document.
I
to
would
the
be grateful if it could be added to the bundle because I'd like to have everything in soft copy if I could.
Thank you.
And Mr. Kumar, do you have a copy of the letter? Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Vivaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, let me reconnect. Okay. So I rephrase the question. The list of critical issues which are reported in the letter 28 July 2020, which you have, are related to MEP works or also to fit-out works?
It's a letter to basically for both, but the MEP was more affected because of these points. Because
Okay.
if MEP will not completed, fit-out cannot be done.
Oh, okay.
It's a direct link.
So in the same letter are included both critical points for both works, if I understood properly.
Actually, this is a journal for both the fit-out and MEP.
Okay. Attached to the letter, there are some photos related to the status of the site at that moment. Do you have it?
No.
Because it is very clear that the status of works, even for those like me who are not engineers, it's very clear that the status of the site was not advanced. So my question is, what is ELV4? Anyway, there is another letter which we can refer to, is included in page 2756. 2756. This is the reply. Okay, now I will reconnect everything. This is the reply from the defendant to the letter which you signed to the letter of 28th of July. And there are photos following the letter, Appendix 1, photos which has been taken 2nd of August 2020, so it means few days after your letter, showing the status of the works at that time. Or at this point I have a question. Do you have any objection about these photos? So do you believe are referred to that period, or you believe they are over 1 year before maybe?
No, I have no objection. The photos are taken from the site only.
Okay, thank you. So at this point a crucial question. What the ELV is for? If because you are a technical engineer and you know that the ELV are works which are required when other works have been already completed. But in this case, the works which must be completed for ELV contractor appointment have not been completed. So explain. I'd like you to understand better as a man who is not skilled in technical matters, which is the reason why you stated that the delays incurred due to appointment to non-appointment of LB contractor.
So you want to read the entire letter or how?
No, I'd like that you explain to the court, first of all, to all of us, that you explain why you believe that the appointment of LV contractor, so the non-appointment of LV contractor, it was the reason of delay of works, which in your perspective is a responsibility of the defendant.
Sorry, what was the page number again? I just scrolled up.
Okay. 2007-5, I guess.
2756.
Let me check again. Just 1 second.
2756.
Yeah, 2007-5 is a letter of the defendant dated the 3rd.
2756.
No, 2756. Sorry,
Okay.
2756.
Perhaps, Mr. Kumar, would you like to read the letter? It's quite lengthy. Would you like to read it before you
This
ask any
letter is
questions?
turned over as for the following residents who kindly stand by the reference to letter number this dated on 8th July, dated on 23rd July. So this is a response against our 3 letter, not only the
Yes.
ELB.
Yes.
It's not only letter to ELB. This is a response against our 3 letters. So you have to refer the other 2 letter also, which one?
Yeah, I agree. I
Because
can
it's
read
not
it.
only, if you will talk about the ELB only, yes, if you will see the photos, the ceiling is open, it cannot be closed until unless we will finish everything above the ceiling. And ELB is a one of the part. If you will see this camera, the cable is above. You cannot close the ceiling until all above cable and containment is done. That is my answer for ELB only.
So I'm not sure I understand that, Mr. Kumar. The question you were asked, I think, was on the assumption that the work was not complete to the point where the ELV contractor could come in. And what are you saying in response to that?
The photos which he's referring, I can see the most of the area, the ceiling is still open and it cannot be closed until unless ELB contractor come, he
Right.
finish his work above the ceiling, then we can close it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe, according to your technical knowledge and the knowledge also of the contract, that the issues listed in your letter of 28/2020 are under responsibility of the defendant company?
These all are these points are under the responsibility of the clients only, which we mentioned in the letter.
Sorry, would you mind to repeat? I
The
will
point
follow
which we have
you.
mentioned in the letter 28th July, these points we mentioned because these are from the client or their contractor directly, these things. So yes, we believe that the things were getting affected because of non-availability of these points later work.
Okay. For example,
If you have any doubt, I can answer you randomly which point you want me to answer out of 10 points.
okay. For example, can you confirm that the revised specification of MAHU were under responsibility of the defendant company?
Revised specification of MAHU and FHU because the kitchen design was changed, the requirement of the machine was changed. The airflow, how much has to come down, how much has to suck. So the design was not freeze. This is the reason we were unable to procure the machines.
In page 2822,
Okay.
2822, there is minutes of meeting
Yeah.
which was held on 4th of February 2020, so really at the beginning of the relationship contract, and I'm checking if you were there at the time.
I am there
Yes. Mr.
from the on-site.
No, not present.
Not
Not present. yes.
not present. So basically, you can't you don't have a direct knowledge of these facts, but I believe, confirm please or not, that you read these minutes of meeting. Have you read it?
I did not read it.
You have not read it? Because in these minutes of meeting, there are some responsibilities which are shared between the parties. One of these is related to the claimant, which has the parties agreed that the claimant has a duty to recheck the design and confirm. Okay. Despite the fact that you weren't at that, that you didn't attend that meeting, my question is the following: do you have knowledge about that?
Yes, I have the knowledge about
So
that.
can you confirm that the claimant company agreed to recheck the design and confirm?
I can say yes, but if you will see, this is a Feb date, okay, and we are talking about the letter which is in 28th July. Feb to July, so many changes were happened. When this meeting was happened, that one we have another design. Yes, we confirm that we were following the design that time, but when we wrote this letter, that time the kitchen design was entirely changed. Location of MAHU, FHU was entirely changed. Okay, so that's what we were asking for, the revised design, revised specification of the machine to start the procurement.
Thank you for your clarification. So let me step back to ELV contractor. Why, in your perspective, the delay in the appointment of ELV contractor affected the execution of works? Which was the relationship between the missing at that time?
That one because client was unable to find any contractor which will fit in their design. They did not have the design for ELB. They were looking for the contractor who can design it.
They who? Are you talking about the defendant?
Client is the defendant.
Oh, okay.
Because it was not a part of our claimant scope, but it was linked to our work.
Okay. Can you confirm that the works listed in the letter of 28th of July have been completed?
I can confirm apart from the point number 9, which is not by us. Maybe there is something not pending or not done.
In point 12 of your witness statement, you stated that the main concern of EOT was...
Sorry, can I get the page number, please, to go back to my statement?
So, no, I am yes.
Because now you jump
Wait,
to my
yeah,
statement.
sorry, just one moment. Witness statement, page... 192.
Okay.
In point 2 of your witness statement, you stated that the main concern of that extension of time, EOT, was the critical delay in completing the electrical works due to the continuous design change.
Which paragraph are you at, Mr.?
He's
12.
I'm rising because he's taken the witness to the wrong witness statement. The relevant page is 189.
I thought Mr. Kumar's witness statement started at 192.
There's two statements, Your Honour. There's my apologies. I might be getting my page numbers mixed up.
Yes. All right. Now, which paragraph are you taking the witness to, Mr. Rivaro?
Paragraph 12.
Paragraph 12. You'll find that on.
Yes, paragraph
Thank you.
12. The witness stated that the main concern of extension of time was the critical delay in completing the electrical works due to a continuous design change by the defendant. This is your statement. So, my question is the following. Can you point out how many times the design has changed by the defendant?
Many times. I cannot,
Many times it means, let me say, 2, 20, 200, 2,000. Give us a figure approximately, please.
I do not remember, but I'm sure it's more than 4 or 5 times minimum. Always there is additional
Four
requirement.
times,
I'm not saying 4.
approximately.
Approximately 4 or 5
So
times.
let me say from 3 to 5, more or less. Okay.
But we can find out.
Yeah. Of course, this is of course I can find.
But there is always a requirement of electrical lights or power additional for the ELB contactor also. For some contactor which they point in later stage.
Okay. In paragraph 13 of your witness statement, you stated that the issue with the completing the works were the availability of the work fronts. Can you explain this assertion?
Paragraph 15.
13, Your Honor. 13.
So that's-
1-3.
13.
Yes.
Thank you.
So throughout the execution of the work, I had sufficient work available to complete the work. The issue with the completing the work was the availability of the work front by way of the example 28 August. Okay, so you just want me to explain that the issue with the completing the work was the availability of the work front?
Yes, if you
That
don't mind.
is like they hired their many contractor by them, okay, like the RK Gulf, okay. For example, the staircase was by RK Gulf. I have lights in the staircase. So if the staircase is not ready, I cannot complete my work. That is the one example.
So they hired other contractors to complete the works, the work fronts. Okay, in which period can you specify when the defendant appointed other contractors for the completion of those works? If
do
you
not
know.
remember the dates.
How is the witness going to possibly know the answer to that question?
Why? Perhaps you could rephrase the question. How would this witness know when the defendant appointed the contractors?
Because, respectfully speaking, Your Honor, the witness asserted that they couldn't complete the works because there were other contractors, and so I'd like to understand in which period it has happened. So if it was at the beginning of a contractual relationship, or if that had happened, let me say, just for example, end of 2020 or 2021. So just to have an idea when these troubles for the claimant company have happened.
Mr. Kumar, can you help us with that?
We already notified through the letters. Letters saying everything. When we were stuck because of their contractor. And this is one of the example, 28th of July. You can just read all the letters, you will find your answer. But the exact date, all these things I cannot answer. I just give you one example. RK Gulf, their main contractor, they were building the staircase and we have a light fitting inside the staircase. So we were unable to complete our electrical work because the staircase was not ready. This is just one example. Like this, many things happen during the project.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any monthly progress record, or it's better to say, have you sent any monthly progress report to the defendant?
We used to send, and it will be in our system. And with the client also will be there, with the consultant as well.
Oh, okay. According to your information, who was the project manager for fit-out works?
Fit-out work in the beginning stage, it was Salas.
Okay,
Mr.
for how
Salas.
long?
I think he left, I do not remember the date exactly. I do not remember the date.
More or less, I repeat, this is not a test of memory, but just to check the reality.
I mentioned in my statement, I am aware that Mr. Salas left the claimant on 5th August 2020. and we reported to Kamyar at the claimant. In the point number 2, my statement.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So basically, the project manager, Mr. Salam, okay, was there since the beginning to August 2020, more or less.
Yeah.
And after that, who is the second one which was appointed, and
After
when?
that, there were, I believe, the Michael was there. Then Kshitij was there. Yes, Kshitij came. He was for one period of time. Then Michael came, and in between there was a Harilal who was acting as a project manager from MEP plus the civil both side.
The appointment of these people, which you gentlemen, this gentleman which you mentioned, it was immediately after the termination with Mr. Salas.
I did not remember immediately or maybe after.
After
2 days.
1 month, after 1 week, after 6 months,
So there
always.
will be a gap of like 1 week or something, but I do not remember exactly. Because
Okay.
there is always a one person, Harilal, and I believe we have a statement from client also that he was a MEP project manager, but he was acting as a civil as well. So he was entertaining. The side was never be without the absence of a PM.
Okay, so final question from my side is, so can you confirm that workers on the site have never been left alone without a project manager? I mean, alone it means without a project manager.
There is always,
Never. So always there
yes.
was someone in the position of project manager. Okay, thank you for your
This
clarification.
is the reason we completed the job.
Okay, my cross-examination is over.
Thank you, Mr. Lazare. Do you re-examine Mr. Landis?
Yes, you're on one topic. Mr. Kumar, you were taken to paragraph 13 of your statement, which is at page 194.
Okay.
And you were asking questions about the availability of work fronts, and you were asked to talk about different time periods.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about the time period from 28th of August 2021. Can you tell His Honour what work fronts were available or not available, and how that impacted upon the execution of the works?
It's like the one example I have already given, the staircase light, then the ELB also, the contractors, then there was a change in the first floor design, architecture design. We
Yes,
finished
sir. So you talk about on the 28th of August 2021, the rooftop toilets were not ready to be handed over.
yeah,
to
that was the
claimants.
major one.
And can you tell His Honour what happened with the rooftop toilets?
At earlier stage it was in our scope, but client de-scoped the full rooftop toilet. Then later again on 29th September, if I am not wrong, 2021, they again put it in our scope. So the thing is that the toilets were, that area was like the empty area, even there were no partition, no wall. And so we notified to client the rooftop toilet are not ready because
When did you notify the client of that?
by letter I believe we notified, and by email as well.
About what time frame?
Before 28 August and after also.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Please continue.
So the thing is, the rooftop toilet is a part of the entire project. Okay, like to complete the project, we should complete the rooftop toilet also. So when it was de-scoped, after that we notified to client that, dear client, please complete this one so we can complete the authorities like the civil defense. Civil defense rooftop toilet is a part of the civil defense. If it's not completed, we cannot complete the entire project. Like the DEWA, the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, that is also part of the rooftop. Mirage will not come to attend any completion inspection until unless there is a big scope is not completed.
When was the claimant able to commence work on the rooftop toilets?
I believe it went in 2022 also.
And
We have some communication with the client even in 2022 Feb and March that few things were pending because of their main contractor.
Okay.
That's why I asked you to correct my statement where I have mentioned the point number 14. It was subsequently completed, not fully completed.
Okay, so just so it's clear, can you explain to His Honour why you weren't able to commence the rooftop toilets?
Because our scope was only MEP, and the civil was by RK Gulf directly under client. So they were not able to complete and give us the area to complete our final installations.
And just so, I think you said a date in 2022 that occurred?
Feb, March.
That's re-examination.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Landis. Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for your assistance. That completes your evidence. You're free to remain in the body of the court or to leave as you wish.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Landis.
Your Honour, I call Mohammed Rias.
Yes. Mr. Landis, I notice that the witnesses have been in court during cross-examination. I take it nobody takes any point about that?
No, Your Honour.
Right, thank you.
Can you please state your name and residential address for the court?
Muhammad Riyaz. What else do you?
Residential address.
I live in Ajman.
Okay. Can you please repeat this?
I swear by Almighty God to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Right. Your Honour, the witness
Mr.
statement appears at 196.
Mr. Reyes, you can take a seat, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
I apologise, Justice Martin. I will have to call an Ejaz if that's okay.
Oh, yes, certainly. We'll just stay in court if we get pages in.
Mr. Rias, could you turn to page 196 of the trial bundle?
Page number 96.
196.
196. Yes.
Do you recognise that document? It goes over to
Yes.
197 and 198.
Yes.
Is there anything in that document you'd like to explain or change?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Landis. Mr. Vivaro, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. So, Mr. Mohammed Rias,
Yes.
in point 3 of your witness statement, which is in page 197, so your witness statement starts in 196, but I am referring to your statement in paragraph 3. You declared that since the beginning of the project, several communications between the project manager and the defendant were ongoing, as there were many conflicts between the design and the actual site condition. You declared that.
Yes, sir.
At this point, I'd like to know, please, what do you mean by several communications? I will give you the questions one by one, or else we'll make a mess of confusion. So, several communication, how many? How many communication from, you said, between the manager, the project manager and the defendant? First of all, more or less, how many communication you are referring to?
Sir, when I mean by several communications, I do not specify just in written. I also specify, because a part of my job role was to communicate, because my part of the role is coordination. So to ensure coordination, when I get through calls with my project managers or with my site team, I also ensure that they say that the communications, there are different changes in the design, so they are not able to complete their works. So several communications, more or less, I cannot exactly provide you with a number, but there were different communications, being delay notification letters that will be given. It was through site walks, it was through verbal communications over the phone or through WhatsApp or whatsoever sort of communications that they have.
Thank you for your clarification about your role. It was one of the following questions, so I can avoid to ask you that. But I'd like to ask you to make an effort just to give us a figure if the communication were, once again, 220, 200, 2000, just to understand the dimension, and so, as a consequence, the impact of the communication on the works. Because according to what you stated, these communication were related to conflicts between the design and the actual site condition. The second question, so first of all, I would be grateful if you could try to specify how many communication, more or less. And second one,
well, let's take it one at a time, please. Mr. Rees, you asked, was it 2 communications, 20, 200, 2000? You able to put a range on the number of communications?
Your Honor, it should be between 10 to 20.
10 to 20?
Yes.
All right. And that's written and verbal?
It should be written and verbal, more or less.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Vivaro, what's your second question?
Thank you, Your Honor. In the same statement, you declared that there were many conflicts between the design and the actual site condition.
Yes, sir.
So, can you explain? I am not an engineer, I am not a technical, I am a lawyer only. I'd like to understand better with these conflicts. Maybe let me rephrase. Maybe discrepancies. Maybe it's more appropriate. But anyway, I understood the meaning. the meaning in which they were substantiated. So, which was in concrete the difference between the design and the condition of the site.
Could you actually rephrase your question? I did not understand your question. I apologize.
My question is the conflicts between the design and the actual site conditions.
Yes.
Which were these conflicts?
So, like my colleague has explained you that there were several changes in the design, within the design, so that were not applicable to actually follow in the site during the site condition. I mean, applicable during the site execution. Our team had difficulties in implying them as per the designs that were provided by the client.
So, several changes, you mean variation?
Not variations. I mean to say the designs in order to implement an execution or to execute the work as per the provided design, where our team was not able to execute it because there were several changes in the design.
So the design provided by the defendant.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Precisely, I would mean that there were several revisions on the design.
Okay. Do you remember the name of the project manager at the time?
So for MEP or for civil or overall?
Or both?
Yes, initially since the beginning and until end it was Mr. Ajay Kumar, and for civil it was Mr. Salas initially.
And after, what happened?
And after that we had Mr. Shetage.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
After that we had Mr. Shetage on at the site. So we are talking about an year that was 2020, and it was during a pandemic year, and we had several changes during that period. A lot of people left our companies, and a lot of people joined back. So depending on during that situation, during that condition, we had our project team giving on those projects to take care of those projects. So initially it was Mr. Salas, then we had Mr. Shetage, and then we also had Mr. Vikas, but the client refused having Mr. Vikas at site. Then we had to again bring in back Mr. Shetage to take care of that project. And after Mr. Shetage, it was Mr. Harilal who was taking care of the project.
Okay, and did you use to inform the defendant about the change of the project manager time by time?
Yes, sir. We did inform them through letters.
Okay. In point 4 for your witness statement, page 197.
Yes.
In point 4, you stated that you between the claimant and the defendant, you had several meetings. There had been several meetings through Microsoft team with the designer on the challenges between the design of the actual site condition. This is what you stated. So, my question is: so it means that you agreed with the defendant about these changes, or the changes arrived to you without any information?
Like I mentioned, sir, there were several changes in the design, so there were multiple revisions. So those revisions were discussed over the teams with our design team. There were multiple meetings in order to discuss on those changes. It again does not mean that none of them were agreed upon. Again, it depending on the site conditions and the implementation during the execution hours. Our team did face difficulties. So based on that, we had several revisions on the design. So those were the meetings that we were having in order to avoid these conflicts or in order to sort these out.
Thank you. In point 5 of your witness statement, you stated that the designs submitted to the claimant for approval just for MEP only 15 revision. Can you explain the nature of this revision that were requested?
Sir, I knew that from our design team, and we have our records that there were 15 revisions. But again, I'm not a technical person where I could explain you the different changes that were made. But between my communication with our design team or with our teams, we knew that we have a records of 15 revisions. This is, I'm talking about MEP alone.
So if I understood properly, you confirm about the 15 revision, but you don't know about the content of this request revision. Is
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir. But
Okay.
then I do understand. I would like to highlight in here that between the communications that I have done with my team, they have highlighted these points.
Okay, in point 6 of your witness statement, you declare that the claimant couldn't move forward on timely manner as per program due to several factors mentioned in the delay notification letters. This, my question is not generic, but is let me say maybe broad. Which are these several factors? I'd like that you at least list 2, 3, 4 factors which have slowed down your activity.
I apologize, sir. I don't specifically remember any of those points at the moment, since these projects were quite long back. But then all these points were actually being highlighted in our delay notification letters. In fact, multiple delay notification letters, and we have shared all of them with the client.
Okay. Can you confirm that in the execution of works, the claimant has complied with the MERAS instructions included in the MERAS manual and in the contract drawing and in the comments by MERAS?
Well, Your Honour, there's been no qualification of this witness as an engineer to be able to answer that question.
Mr. Navarro, how would this witness know the answer to that question?
Okay.
Or perhaps we'll ask Mr. Rios, do you know anything about the question you just asked about compliance with the MERAS guidelines?
I apologize, Your Honor. I'm not a technical person, so I won't be able to answer that.
Well, I think there's your answer, Mr. Navarro.
So can you confirm that the site was always with a project manager all the time, or sometimes there was no project manager on the site?
So there was always always a project manager. But
Someone
if you-
coordinating the workers.
Would you, do you mean some project manager, if I would like to just properly understand your question, did you mean by physically be available or a team member to manage the workers at site? Did you
Okay. Okay. Okay, my cross-examination is over.
Also, the witness just asked you a question to qualify what you meant earlier. Did you?
Sorry, I didn't get your...
The witness wanted to know what you meant by project manager, and you didn't respond.
The project manager. The one, sorry, I didn't get your question. The project manager, the one who is in charge for supervising and coordination of workers.
the coordination of the workers?
Sorry, the question is, was there always somebody there coordinating the workers?
Yes, Your Honor. We always had a site team to manage all the workers and to do the supervisions of all the workers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vivaro. Mr. Landis, do you re-examine?
There you go.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rios. That completes your evidence. You're free to leave the witness box. You can stay in the court or leave as you wish.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Landis, that completes your witnesses.
That's the lay witness, Your Honour, yes.
All right. Well, this might be a convenient time to take a mid-morning break. So why don't we adjourn for 10 minutes and resume at 11:30 when we'll hear from your witnesses, Mr. Vivaro. So we'll adjourn until 11:30.
Well, guys, quick.
sure. That's only one option. They can do that, but they can do remote.
Please be seated. Mr. Vivaro, your witnesses.
Thank you, Your Honor. The first witness is Dr. James Khalili.
Thank you.
Can you please state your name and residential address?
James Kennedy, Paul Durant. I swear by Almighty God to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Can you please sit down, Dr. Khalili. Mr. Vivaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Khalili, on 25th October 2023, you signed a witness statement, which you can find in page 182 and following of the trial bundle.
It's page 199 on my screen. Is that the one?
No, no.
All right, so, all right,
B1,
page.
page 182.
Yes, got it.
Did you find it?
Yes.
Oh, very good. So you signed this witness statement. The first question, if you confirm the content of it,
Absolutely.
and if you remember, if you confirm.
Yes, I do.
Oh, very good. I have a couple of questions. First of all, you stated that you signed a contract with the claimant company for some works, blah blah blah. But at paragraph 10, paragraph 10, page 184,
Right.
you declare that I began to see the alarming fact that the bond was intentionally ignoring this important integral part of the agreement, excluding the MERAS manual. This is including, not excluding, including the MERAS manual. So basically it's a very, very clear allegation against the claimant. I'd like to understand if you could please clarify the meaning of this statement.
All right, so this MERAS manual was an integral part of the agreement, and it was actually the most important part of the agreement, and we specifically wanted to make sure that it manual along with our drawings supersede everything else to prevent variations. That's how we saw it at the beginning, and because of this, we submitted the MERAS manual to the contracting team of Bond to go over it, because we were intended to include it in the agreement, which we did. But from very beginning, they were coming up with the variations in which all of them were part of MERAS manual. Since it was part of the MERAS manual, we were getting back to them and we were telling them, listen guys, this is as per the MERAS manual, and it is actually advised by MERAS on the drawing that they submitted to MERAS, which means it is all of them are considered as part of the MERAS manual, so they cannot be considered as variation. So even if there is a cost impact they are the one who have to cover it, because it is an integral part of the agreement. So this happened throughout the process, throughout these years of us dealing with bond.
So you are saying that you met this
Your
problem?
Honor, this is going a little bit beyond.
Yes,
your
Mr. Bavara, the rules basically require that the evidence in chief is to be given by the witness, the written witness statement. You're given a little latitude, but what question do you want to ask now?
Your Honor, respectfully speaking, I know that this is an examination in chief. It was only just to help everyone to understand better some points which have been stated. Anyway, the next question, if Your Honor allows me to, is to like to know how many times you have met more or less these problems with the defendant, because you said, for what I understood, you said that the defendant didn't observe the prescription included in the Meras manual.
No,
It's correct?
that's not what the witness said. The witness said that the defendant, the claimant, made claims for variations in order to comply with the Meras manual, and because the Meras manual was part of the contract, they weren't proper variations. That's what the witness said, as I understand it. Is that right, Dr. Khalili?
Correct.
Yes, all right. So he didn't say what you said.
Thank you. Maybe I didn't express properly my point of view, so my interpretation of what the witness said. Anyway, can you remember how many times it has happened, more or less, during the course of the work?
What is it? What are you asking? What happened? The claim
What
for
happened? These
variation?
problems with the defendant, just about the work to be processed, about the application of the agreement and so forth.
I'm not sure how putting a number on it's going to help me, unless you're going to take the witness to specific instances. And you can't really, because you haven't referred to any specific instances in the witness statement. That would be opening up a whole new area of evidence.
Okay. Can I ask a clarification?
Well, what's the question you want to ask?
In point 18, you stated that the project managers of the defendant have not officially introduced it to you, so to the defendant company, if either got terminated, resigned, or simply appointed by bond to another project. So what do you mean exactly with this? It's what do you, can you specify this statement?
May I answer the question?
Yes.
This throughout the course of this project, it happened a number of times. Whereas there were a project manager on site, and the project manager was disappearing, and then I was asking about the project manager and pushing for it, and then all of a sudden somebody was showing up saying that I'm the project manager of the entity. So nothing happened officially. So it was not, maybe it happened once or twice, but mostly for them it was not like they're sending us a letter saying that this project manager is removed from the site, and instead of him we are appointing so and so person to act as a project manager. It was mostly us pushing, asking for the project manager, and they are coming up with somebody as a project manager. We were on the site for some times, and then again disappearing, and then coming back. So nothing happened in a formal way as per the agreement, whereas they have to say, this is a project manager, and now we are removing him, and this is the other project manager that we would like to appoint. So it didn't follow this formal kind of process. Maybe at one instance or two, yes, maybe in response to our requests, our letters, yes, but it should have happened automatically from bond as per standard practices in the industry.
Okay, thank you for your clarification. I'm over.
Thank you, Mr. Bavara. Mr. Landis, do you cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Doctor, would you go to your statement and paragraph 10, which I think you were just with Mr. Rivaro.
Sure.
Your Honour, that's at page 184. You make the statement that variations were against the integral part of the agreement. Do you see that on paragraph 10? That's the last sentence. Do you understand that variations are in the agreement? So there is a provision in the agreement which provides for variations if there's works that are instructed outside the scope?
There is a specific letter from me to Bond Interiors saying no variations is valid unless it has my written sign and stamp. And
That's not quite my question. My question is, do you accept that variations can be claimed as part of the agreements?
It can be claimed, but of course, contractor can claim, but whether it is approved or not, whether they are justified or not, that's something else. Contractor can come up with variation all the time.
And
It's a business at the end of the day, right?
You've approved a lot of variations on this project, haven't you?
The valid one, of course.
Well, you've approved variations, haven't you?
Of course, the valid ones, the ones that were logical and they were true, and of course I did.
You make the statement that Bond was intentionally ignoring something that's important, and integral parts of the agreement, including the MERAS manuals. You don't give any examples of that, though.
I can give you plenty of examples, and
Okay.
if Your Honor give us the opportunity, we can put them together.
Well, we're listening. What's an example?
The example, I mean, these are some of them are the technical kind of terms, so I might be wrong. But I give you an example at the very
Don't be
beginning.
wrong. Be right. You're giving sworn evidence.
Yes, but at the same time, I'm not an engineer.
But you've made a statement that that the claimant has intentionally ignored the MERAS manual.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
why have you said that?
Because I know this is what happened.
Well, I'm asking you to give
So
an example.
let me continue then, please interrupt, right? When I say technically, it means the term, whether it was called FAHU or MAHU, this is I'm a little bit, I'm not sure which one of these two were, but this one was actually in a bathroom of the ground and first floor, not on the rooftop bathroom that you keep referring to. That one, that machine in a specific had to follow the MERAS specification.
Okay.
They came up with a variation for that specific machine, whereas it couldn't be a variation because it was as per the MERAS comment, which is as per the MERAS manual.
Well,
So when I say technically, it means this, we have to check technically that whether that machine called FAHU or MAHU, but this was one of those cases.
And which part of the MERAS manual are you referring to when you say that it wasn't within specifications?
What do you mean which part? It's 150 pages of
Well, I'm
MERAS
asking
manual.
you to take me to the page.
Oh, after, so I don't recall the page. But
So-
they know, because at the end they,
Well, no, I'll stop you there. They don't. How do you know that they don't know? You can't give that evidence, can you?
yeah, of course I can, because in the drawing of MERAS, there is a comment of MERAS themselves
Okay.
referring to MERAS manual with a sign and a stamp.
Can you
of
take
MERAS
his
on
honour-
that drawing.
Can you take his honour to that document that you just referred to with the MERAS stamp?
The document, I believe, is part of the evidence.
Can you provide a reference to it?
Then you have to ask some legal counsel to
So
provide them.
your evidence is you don't know standing here today.
I'm not a lawyer here. I'm just here to.
You've said at paragraph 12.
Yeah, I said it. But then, if you want, we can provide it.
Well, I'm asking you to provide it,
We will provide it.
but you can't.
We actually provide more than one.
When was it provided, Doctor?
This particular,
You mean it wasn't provided as part of the litigation, it was provided at the time the work was being carried out, is that what you're saying?
yes.
That's all right. Has it been, are you able to provide it as part of the
For
court
sure, we
process?
can provide it. Yes.
Now?
Not now. We have to.
Well,
I don't think they can get it now.
so you can't provide it now. Just so we're clear.
It's 2 years of hundreds and hundreds pages of documentations and agreements.
You've prepared this document on the 20th of October.
Do I refer to any kind of document in this?
No, That's what I'm asking you to say. You've made this broad statement. At one point, Bond approached us and stated that certain equipment cannot be used. I'm asking you to explain to His Honour what that certain
I
equipment
did
is.
explain, right?
Which was it?
MA issue and FA issue. As
No,
one
you were
example.
you said you didn't know.
Why? I said, I told you right now. I said I don't know the technical term, whether it is called FA issue or MA issue. I didn't say I don't know. I was actually in fact present all the time, so I know very well.
But then you
But
go.
now you're asking for a specific evidence and a specific number, a specific page number. That I have to look into it. But you're able to provide everything that I mentioned in this statement.
And where is it in the MERAS manual that this certain equipment needed to be used? Where in the
You
MERAS
want me
manual?
to tell you which
Yeah, I
page
do.
of 150?
I do, yes.
Oh, well, I cannot give you the number now.
Thank you. So paragraph 14, you say any variations they had, they were following up for my approval. When you provided that approval, and then carrying out the work, and we were paying for it. Do you see that?
Yes.
And you accept, don't you, that when you are approving variations which are additional work, they can't be done immediately. That will take time.
Most of the variation have the time frame on it, actually.
Okay, well, let's go to one and have a look at that. Would you go to variation number 43, which is at page 3118? I apologise, it's the page before.
What page is it exactly?
Sorry.
3117, is that the one, Mr. Landers?
No, Your Honour, I'm looking for one that's dated the 7th of December. Unfortunately, my notes have been superseded by...
Also, you don't know the page number.
No.
Thank you for the comment.
You're welcome.
So if you go to page 3140, do you recognise that document?
Wait, 3410?
Yes.
3140.
3140, Your Honour.
Mine's still loading up.
Yes?
Can you point to His Honour where there's a time frame stated on that variation? Go over the page, please, at 3141 in case it's there. There's no time frame there, is there?
Not on this one.
So you'd accept that that Bond would have a reasonable time to do this work after the variation was approved by you?
For this particular one,
Well, for any variation that doesn't have a time frame.
can you rephrase the question?
You would accept that if there is a variation that's instructed by you that doesn't have a specific time frame attached to it, that Bond would have a reasonable time to complete the works?
A reasonable time. Yes. The word reasonable is a key.
And over the page at 3142, do you see that as another variation?
3412.
3142, I think.
Yes, Your Honour. And read through this page and the following page, if you like, and can you tell His Honour if this one has a reasonable, has a time frame on it?
this one is for November 2021, right?
That's right, yes.
So what's the question?
My question is, do you see a time frame on that document?
I don't see a time frame on this document.
So you'd accept that bond would have a reasonable period of time after this?
If there is no date on any document, it means I agree with bond having a reasonable time to finish it off. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to go through every single one of them.
Okay.
If there is no date, reasonable time was acceptable to me, and I was complying as per the same.
Can I take you now to document appearing at page 2852? 2852. So it's a chain of emails. It starts on the following page at 2853. So perhaps if you were to read the email at 2853 and then back to the emails on 2852. So starting with the email from Mr. Rias to you on Sunday, December 12, 2021 at 3:18 p.m. Do you see that?
Which email you're referring to? Sorry.
This is the page 2853.
2853.
Yes.
All right.
So you see the email on that page from Mr. Rias to you.
Yes.
You see that Mr. Rias sent a final payment application for the MEP original and variation scope for your review and approval. And there's addition 2 variations that we have not received the approval yet.
All right.
And then over the page, you'll see that Mr. Kumar follows up that email and he refers to a discussion between you and Lael. Do you remember that discussion on the 12th of December 2021?
I recall.
You do recall? What do you recall about that discussion?
During that conversation, while asked for certain,
Do you agree that those 4 points represent the things that were discussed?
what?
So you'll see that Mr. Kumar's email lists out 4 points. Do you
I can see
agree?
it in the email, yes.
Yeah, do you agree that those were the things that were discussed?
I have to go through the email, my response. So
Well,
whatever.
your response is just above it.
Exactly. So I have to see what are the variations that I have approved. The one
Okay,
that I
so-
approved are valid.
You'll see the numbers. So we've got approved.
What I do, I
variation.
stand by my email. In my email, I mentioned please want the attached variation approved as requested.
Yes.
So these variations that are approved.
On the 12th of December. 12th of December.
Whatever that I approved as per this email, which we have to find out the attachments, are the
Okay,
ones
well,
that I approved.
Let's go back to those documents.
That's a
'cause
direct response to that email, isn't
I
it?
took you to them before, but we can go back if you like. So I want you to look at the attachments and remember that we're dealing with variation number 43,
What's the page number?
variation number 44. So if you go to page 3140, You see that's variation number 43.
This one is 7th December.
Yes, that's right. 3140. You'll see subject variation number 43. Do you see that in the middle of the
So
page?
this one I approved it, yes. And then
And you accept that this document, and if you go over the page to 3142,
3142.
yes, which is variation number 44, dated the 29th of November 2021,
What was the page again?
3142.
Okay, but this one is November. It was back then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can't explain why the numbers don't follow chronological sequence.
So this specific one, these two
Yes.
were actually in my emails.
Yeah.
So
You
in
accept
that
that?
email that I said here are the approvals,
Yes, on
I
the
had
12th.
these two variations approved in it.
Yes, so that's the 12th of December email that we were talking about a little bit earlier.
All right, so that then my email in which I said please find the attached approvals
Yes.
included only these two variations.
Okay, but you accept
Yes,
that?
yes or no? Because that I don't know.
Well, go back to the email if you like.
Or you cannot see the number of attachments in my email.
Well, you're asking me to answer a question.
In that email I said please find that attached approval, right? So for me to answer your question, I want to make sure how many documents are attached in that email and what are those documents that I can explain.
You can see the documents.
These two.
Yes, that's all I'm asking.
Only these two.
Yes.
So now I'm going to respond to these two. If I remember correctly, if you go to the first one, this one was due to the fact that this issue were raised from civil defense after the civil defense inspection, which means it was a fault of the bond interior to start with, because this change.
No, but you've signed a variation notice.
This is what
So this is
that's what I'm explaining. The variation is because of the documents and the drawing and the work that the bond interior has done, submitted to civil defense. Civil defense, they did the inspection. They came up with this issue for us to give us a permit. Civil defense approval. So we had to do this minor changes. So it was part of the civil defense approval, which bond interior was the main contractor.
Oh, they were they? They were. Okay, so let's have a look at the civil defence approval.
Civil defense approval, I can answer your question before you're asking. Civil defense approval, there's the name of another contractor.
Oh, but you just said it was bond interior.
Because the civil defense approval, bond interior to us, because bond interior is the one who provide all the drawing, done all the work, and provide all the certification and all the documents. Sometimes in contracting work, when you do this, you appoint another entity to submit on your behalf. Nothing were presented for civil defense.
So isn't Arcade Golf responsible for what's submitted to civil
No,
defence?
an arcade of submission to civil defense. Only the submission. But what they did, actually before, Your Honor, if it's okay if I clarify this matter because it's keep coming up. Everything has been done but bond interiors. Bond interiors is actually the main contractor. At one point, we had to submit, which we can walk you through it. We have to submit these documents through an entity for the civil defense approval. So what we did, we tried to do this through consultant first. So what we did, our consultant asked bond interiors, which all the emails are there.
Where are they? Where are these emails you've referred to?
We can submit it.
No, I want you to tell me where they are in the trial bundle.
Then I have to ask my legal counsel if they can find it.
So as we sit here today, you can't present the emails, but you say demonstrate that.
It's a very common practice. Everybody
No,
knows this.
please listen to the question and answer the question. Sitting here right now, you are unable to produce any emails that make good what you just said.
I cannot recall any pages or anything that.
No, where's the email?
I'm not sure whether my legal counsel included in the
So
bundle.
your answer is no.
My answer is my answer. I think you get it.
No, your answer.
I'm not sure whether my legal counsel included that in the bundle. That's the answer.
So the answer is no, you can't produce them.
I already told you the answer.
Pardon?
I already answered the question.
No, you didn't. You said
And the answer is not no.
Well, I think we're going around in circles,
Yeah.
Mr. Landis, that he doesn't know whether the emails are in the bundle or not because he didn't put the bundle together.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We'll move on.
So if I continue,
No, we've finished that question. can you go to document appearing at page 3155? Do you recognise that document?
What document 315 is a letter?
It's an email from Ram Kumar to you.
So do I recognize what?
You
Him
see-
sending this email to me?
Yes, that's addressed to you.
Oh, so then he did.
And do you know what a Form 13 final fit-out inspection closeout document is?
If I see it.
Okay.
Do you have it here?
I do. It's in the bundle. I'll just give you the page reference. So if you go to page 2908.
Oh, this one is Dubai Holding. Yes, I am familiar with this.
And you'll see that there's a reference to the F13 in the bottom left corner. So do you agree that this document is the final inspection checklist that was provided to you on the 19th of December 2001?
Yes. No, 19 December 2021.
Yes, that's right.
What is it?
Would you go to page 2854 of the bundle?
1854?
2854.
All right.
Do you remember receiving that email?
It's 2 years ago, but if it's here, I did receive it.
And if you scroll to the following pages, you'll see that 2 taking over certificates are attached to that email.
All right.
You agree you received that email with those attachments?
It's addressed to me, so probably yes.
Thank you. I want to return to your statement now. So would you turn to paragraph 20 and
Page number, please.
just a second. It's on page 185. You make a statement in that paragraph, and looking at the second last sentence,
Which paragraph is it?
paragraph 20. This shows the complete negligence of bond to our project.
I don't.
I put
It's
you
not-
that's
It's
simple.
not paragraph 20.
Yes, it is.
185?
Yes.
Or you
It's
are,
the second last
you are-
sentence.
All right, okay, all right, sorry.
It suggests to you that it wasn't complete negligence of bond to your project at all.
So what's the question?
Do you agree with that? There wasn't complete negligence by bond?
It was
Right.
throughout the course of actually the construction.
If you go to paragraph 22 on the same page,
Sure.
I suggest to you that there wasn't unjustified quotations for additional works and deletions. The variations that were put to the defendant were justified.
Variations were not just the ones that were justified. I approved them. The ones that were not justified, I didn't. But that was variations mostly it was not actually about pricing. It was about them being valid or not valid. It's different. This one is talking about the quotations for additional scope. This one is not talking about the variations. For variations, we didn't have an issue of them being expensive. For variation, we have an issue over the validity of the variations.
What are the additional works that you're referring to?
There were additional work, for example, as they were referring to the structural work. The structural work was one of them.
Yes.
And there were some other scope that were actually not related at all to the main scope of bond interiors. And accordingly, it shouldn't have any effect on them delivering the project on time. But just to give you an example, the structural work, which is well documented, and there's also here, there's the evidence of my letter to the CEO of Bond Interiors, which is now, it is included in this as well.
And are you
That's what I'm referring to as quotations.
Are you a structural engineer?
I'm not.
How do you know whether or not the quotations were justified or not?
This goes on under standard business practice, where you go to the companies who have the reputations and who can deliver, and you ask for multiple one of them in the well-designed tendering process. Then you come up with different quotations. Then you compare the specification. Then you know which one is better.
But that's not necessarily unjustified. It's just a different quotation.
Unjustified when the price is 2-3 times more than what everybody else is quoting, then it is considered to be unjustified.
That's your opinion.
As per business understanding, from business perspective.
On to the next paragraph, paragraph 23.
Yes.
You say there are always issues with the statements of accounts.
Correct.
Can you give His Honour an example of when that occurred?
Throughout.
No, I know you say throughout, but is there a specific instance that you can...
So you want me to say so-and-so email, page so-and-so, date so-and-so?
Well, okay, by reference to...
That I cannot.
By reference to what's in the trial bundle or another document.
My trial bundle, again, is not prepared by me, so I'm not really sure what are the elements that we have included in the trial bundle. But any of my statements, anytime that it is required, we can put it together and resubmit to Your Honor.
Well, it's kind of now's the time to put those documents forward.
Just have to say that.
So if we go over the page to 186,
Yeah.
in paragraph 27,
Right.
I suggest that there weren't various excuses put by Bond. They were actually valid complaints.
Not at all.
Okay.
Bond Interiors are always throughout this process 2-3 stages behind us. So even now that they are saying ELB and all of that, the actual progress on site were 2-3 stages always behind. So we were never behind Bond Interiors throughout the course of this project.
But you then go on to say in paragraph 28 that Bond was not the only contractor involved in the project.
Yes. Subcontractors.
Okay.
Subcontractors could be anything. Could be FF&E, could be tables, chairs, wall decorations. All of them were not relevant to the main scope of work, and they were different part of our concept. And some
So
part of it were not part of the.
You were sitting in court earlier when Mr. Kumar gave evidence about the rooftop toilets.
Okay.
And I'll take you to the document, but there is an instruction that you gave on the 29th of September 2021 to rescope into Bond's scope of works.
Can you take me to the page, please?
Yes. So 2743.
2743.
And you see that's a letter signed by you to Mr. Whale.
Absolutely. So about this particular one, as I believe Ajay was talking about this, right?
Yes.
As he said, this particular part of the work has been completed in March 2022,
Yes.
right? We start operating Treehouse, where is the main contractor is responsible, by 22nd December, right? So by 22nd December 2021, we had civil defense approval, we have everything.
Yes.
This additional scope had nothing to do with them delivering the main scope of ground and first floor.
That's because they didn't
This
have...
cannot have any effect. Now I tell you this. The other thing is it's a confusion. The reason that now, back then I wrote this email and then I said you guys do the toilet of the rooftop, because toilet of the rooftop is actually not on the rooftop. It is on the first floor.
But it's a simple question. When you gave this instruction...
This is irrelevant to the completion of the project.
Well, I'll ask the questions. On the 29th of September 2021, Bond couldn't complete that work because
What work?
RK Golf,
What
the
work?
rooftop toilet works that you've
This,
instructed.
this rooftop toilet, they actually finished it by March. It is out of this discussion entirely.
No, listen to the question, please. On the 29th of September 2021, you've instructed Bond to complete these works. They could not complete the works because the work front wasn't available.
Which work?
You've got the instruction in front
The
of you.
whole scope or this one in particular?
This in particular.
This one in particular, yes, but
Yes.
this one is not related to the whole
No,
project.
listen to the
This is
question.
the isolated.
Listen to the
You cannot
question.
put them together.
Listen to the question. As at the 29th of September 2021, Bond was unable to complete this work that you've instructed because there was no access to the works front.
This particular one.
Yes.
This particular one, yes, it's isolated. Isolated room has nothing
Okay,
to do
thank
with
you.
anything.
Let's move on. Next document I want to take you to is an email that appears at page 3154. And you'll see at the bottom of that page there's an email from Ram Kumar, who you might recall from some of the early emails was at Bond and now is employed by your company.
So what's the question?
The question is, do you recall that email with the snag list on the project? And you'll see, just to assist you, that that email was sent to a number of different organisations, including Bond, but also including RK Golf, Alpha DXB, Intermetal, Procom, Incos Service, and others. So it's not just directed at Bond, it's directed at a number of different contractors. Do you recognise those contractors as the ones that completed the project?
Completed which project?
The project that we're talking about there.
This particular email that you're referring to, and if I, by reading it, I don't remember it, but by reading it, my staff mentioned 88 Terrace project. 88 Terrace is about the rooftop.
Okay.
So it means it is only about the rooftop toilet when it comes to Bond.
All right. Well, why has it been sent to all of these other companies?
This is irrelevant to this conversation since we have different contractors for rooftop.
No,
This is
I see.
about rooftop. This has nothing to do with the rest of the place, right? I mean, I'm looking at it. 88 Terrace project. 88 Terrace project is a rooftop.
My question is, it's not just Bond though, it's these other contractors as well.
For the rooftop, Bond only did the MEP of the toilets of the rooftop. Which,
So
as I said again,
there was no
proven
other
my point. It's not
contractors.
related to the main floor.
No other contractors on the rooftop. Is that your evidence?
Why are we talking about the rooftop? This court is not about the rooftop.
You just said it was
Why are you-
88 Terrace project.
Yeah, I don't know who put this there, this email, but this email, it says 88 Terrace project. And again, in the subject, it says roof flow. I don't know how that is related to this court.
Well, it says it's an FM snag list. Do you know what an FM snag list is?
Yes,
What is it?
it says snag list.
Pardon?
It says snag list.
What does the FM stand for?
It's a snag list of the contractors issues that we are facing. But this one, as I said, is 88 Terrace project roof floor. It's not related to our conversation now.
We'll move on then. Can you go to the document appearing at 3151?
Yes.
Do you see that's an email from Ram Kumar, who was at that stage employed by Bond?
Employed by Bond and referred by Bond as a project manager, whereas in this email you can see he was a site engineer.
And you'll see, you're copied in on that email, that the base built issue snagging list, the Bond team has done their part of the snagging activity. Do you see that?
Of course.
And that was on the 19th of January 2022.
All right.
And there was nothing that you knew that, or you don't respond saying no, actually Bond hasn't done
I'm
that yet.
CCing this email. I'm not the one who
Yes.
should respond to this.
But you haven't gone back to say that's not right.
I received thousands emails that I'm CC'd in. I cannot respond to every single one of them, and I cannot go through every single one of them.
Next letter I'd like to take you to is at page 3148, and that's a letter dated the 30th of August 2022. And do you see in the third dot point there that Bond has acknowledged a snag list for their action, but no access has been given to the subcontractor?
Can you tell me which paragraph you're referring to?
This is the third dot point. It's about 3/4 of the way down the page.
All right.
And no access has been given to the subcontractor yet. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you have any reason to think that's not correct?
That we didn't provide access
Yes.
by August
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
Yes. We opened the place December 2021. We are a running business.
So you're,
Operational. We cannot wait 8 months for the contractor to all of a sudden show up asking for access.
so you're saying that no access was provided. Is that your evidence?
Most of those issues were already sorted out and we paid ourselves to another
listen to
contractor.
the question. Is your evidence that no access was provided to the contractor?
There's no evidence of such. What do you mean?
No, I'm asking you.
So,
Is your evidence that no access was provided
when?
in August 2022 to Bond?
In August 2022, no access provided.
Thank you.
August 2022.
That's right.
Not earlier. Just 8 months after the opening.
And if you go to page 3146, so that's a letter dated the 19th of December 2022. Do you remember receiving that letter?
Just let
Not
if
quite
I
yet.
don't
Not quite yet.
remember correctly. It was actually the figure I do remember. It was quite shocking that how all of a sudden we have this kind of a figure coming out. I do remember very well.
Okay. And you responded to that letter, didn't you? There's a letter dated the 30th of December 2022, which you'll find at page 2839.
Was it again?
2839.
Yeah, this letter is drafted by our lawyers, so this is what happened. At that time, as I said, we had to engage a law firm to represent us.
So, this letter responds to the statement of account that's attached to that letter that I took you to. You accept that?
If it is stated there, I may sign it. Yes.
Where in this letter does it identify a part of the account that you disagree with?
Before them issue that letter coming up with that magical number, we did set up multiple meetings with them.
No, but I'm asking, in this letter, do you accept that it does not set out the reasons why you disagree with any specific
This
figure?
letter, I believe we were already moving forward toward that. So I don't.
It's a yes or no question, Doctor.
So what's
Do you see something? What?
No, I don't see it.
Thank you. Did you make any payment towards the statement of account that was provided on the 19th of December 2022?
The 4 million one.
Yes.
From that point moving forward?
Yes.
Of course not.
I want to just go back to your statement. If you remember the page number, you're doing better.
185 or 186 now. You are at 186, I think.
Very good. So at 29, you've said that the changes we made to the project, apart from the roof, were not under the scope of bond and should not have affected their work. You see that?
Yes.
Are you an engineer?
No.
Are you a project scheduler?
Sorry?
Are you a project scheduler?
No.
Do you have any experience in constructing a project?
No, but this one is the common sense. I tell you
So-
what, you want me to give you an example, then see if you understand as a lawyer or not.
No, that's not how this
If
works.
you want to put
No,
the...
the way this works, Doctor, is I ask the questions, you answer. So you're not an engineer?
No,
You're not a project scheduler?
no.
So you're not qualified to say whether or not a change would affect the scope of
Common
work.
sense.
But that you're not giving that from any sort of expert
It's
point
a
of
common
view.
sense. You want to put the frame on the wall. It has nothing to do with the finishing of the wall.
That's a very interesting example, but it's not particularly relevant.
Oh yeah, it is.
Well, you say that it's unreasonable to claim, and I'm putting to you that that's not
I
a...
stand by every single word in this statement.
So paragraph 33, and this is on page 187, you said that Bond stated if we do not pay them an amount of money, they're not going to release the gas. What was that amount of money? Was that the variation that we just looked at?
I don't recall exactly. They were
What's
conditioning it.
what's the amount of money?
I don't recall. About the entire statement, actually, they were saying you either have to approve everything, make all the payments, then I'm going to connect the LPG. It was like a blackmailing kind of approach, which is somehow evident in that Exhibit 6, which I'm happy to go over with you now.
We've gone to that Exhibit 6, haven't we? Didn't we look at that? That's your email of the 12th of December 2021.
Let's go over it.
Let's go back to that. And tell His Honour where you see that blackmail. So that's page 2,852.
So exactly, so this one, LPG,
Yes.
conditioned to me approving all the variations and making all the payments, whereas we had issues. We were not on the same page. We were discussing it. We cannot.
But you had a contractual obligation to make payments under the payment applications.
We were doing that. But then they were saying, for example, all these variations that we didn't approve it, now you have to come and approve it.
But-
Approval of pending variations. To them it's a pending variations. To me it's not a pending variation.
But you've attached two
Only two.
variations.
But that phone call, it was about to do all of them.
The LPG work was done, wasn't it?
The LPG, I was actually...
So it's a
there
yes
were
or no
two-
question.
There were two... You see, you have to understand, since you also don't have a engineering background, there is LPG approval, and then there is LPG connection. It's two different things. LPG connection, then they had the issues with the pipes, which they had to sort it out. So they've done this LPG approval, they got the LPG approval, but when it comes to the LPG connection, then they started to playing the games again, saying that you only approved 2-3 of them, now you have to go and approve all of them for us to rectify the LPG issue.
You say this email demonstrates all of that.
Yeah,
Where
it does demonstrate.
Where does it say that?
It said approval of the pending variations and payment application approval as per.
And I've put it to you that there are only two variations attached to that, which we've gone through, and seem to be legitimate variations. You've accepted that, and the LPG approval took place.
Go to the point 4 as well. Final contract value to be discussed, signed by the client, and all of that. So it's a 4 points into this, not only 2 points. We are only referring to the two variations that are signed.
Well, where was the
So there is
discussion?
the final contract value to be discussed and signed.
Was it discussed?
We didn't do it, we didn't sign it. So this email, it means connecting that to me doing all these 4.
Just a minute, Your Honour. Dr. Kill, you gave evidence earlier that if a variation had been approved, it would be paid. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So it would surprise you.
Approved with my sign and signature on it.
Yes, assuming all of those things have been done, your evidence is that that would have been paid. And is that right?
Of course.
So if it's not paid, then you'd accept that the defendant is in breach of its contract?
It depends when it
No,
comes.
it's a yes or no question.
It's case by case. I cannot answer yes or no to this question.
Well, where in the contract does it say that if there's a variation that's the subject of a payment application?
I'll give you an example. If someone
No.
come up with made the statement of an account which has millions difference between my actual statement of accounts, then what do you expect?
But
If you produce as a
I'm
company,
talking about variations.
okay,
So if there is a line item for variations in a statement of account that is only comprised of variations that you have signed and stamped, then that should be paid, shouldn't it?
that should be paid, of course. Everything that has my sign and signature has to be paid.
Nothing further on.
Thank you, Mr. Landis. Mr. Vivara, do you have any questions in re-examination?
No question, thank you.
Good, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Clearly. That completes your evidence. You can leave the witness box. You can stay in the hearing room or leave as you wish.
Thank you so much.
Now, Mr. Vivara, your next witness.
Your Honour, given the time, perhaps we might take I'm in Your Honour's hands whether we...
How long do you think you'll be with the next witness, Mr. Lander?
If this was any indication, it might be a little while, Your Honour.
All right. Well, should we make a start now, or...
I'm just mindful of the difficulties that my learning friend would have if we started cross-examination. I'm happy to continue, but...
Well, let's go. Why don't we go till 1 and then break till 2 and then resume?
Thank you.
Mr. Vivara, is your next witness ready?
Yes. Oh. The next witness is Mr. Ardalan Bashiri.
Thank you.
Witness statement, page 188.
Thank you.
I swear by Almighty God to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Mr. Vivara.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Ardalan, you can you confirm that you signed a witness statement 25th of October 2023?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember the content? The content of the witness statement, do you remember?
The ones that they are on the letters.
Sorry, can you raise your voice?
The ones that they are already on the letters, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is, I have only a clarification. I'd like to ask you only a clarification about the variation and extension of time, because this is a crucial point of this dispute. So I'd like it if you could please clarify better this point.
Yes. Regarding the variations, as we've spoken about it like several of times with Bond and between us during all this process that we had, there is certain items in the document with lines referring to the drawings, the Meros manuals, and the comments. And whatever is considered in these documents, if they haven't applied for variation, it hasn't been accepted as a variation. If it is not in these documents, like all the other, like I think around 80% of the variations which were submitted were already approved, and we do not have that much issue with the MEP variations. The subject that is not nobody is going through it is the fit out, and the amount of the variation is related to the fit out, which does not what has been requested as variation are already in the Meros manual or inside the drawings that we have. As an example, if I want to tell you, it is like there is a variation that it has been requested for increase of wall thickness. The wall thickness, if you go through the AutoCAD drawings that they were submitted, which we went with your accountant, Jay, I don't remember his name, is Riaz, I don't remember, which we met in Treehouse when we were going through the variation meeting. We've checked the drawings, and the thickness of the wall is exactly what has been built. So we do not consider that as variation.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, variation is something which is out of the instructions of the manual.
Yes,
correct.
So yes, you are correct. If it is out of the contract, it is considered as variation, or if it is added to the contract, additional scope, we consider as variation. Yes.
Okay, thank you for your clarification. The witness is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Vivara. Mr. Landers.
Thank you. How would you prefer me to address you? Sorry, Mr. Bashiri, is that sufficient? Or
Ardalan, I think it's easier, whatever it's easier for you to.
Thank you.
Ardalan, Bashiri.
Mr. Ardalan, can you go to page 190 of
100?
190? And you might recognise that. You can scroll forward a couple of pages and you'll see that that's your witness statement. So 188 is the...
So starting from 189, yes?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. So if you move to 190, so you've just explained to my learned friend what it looks like to be your evidence, paragraph 13, which is the variation. Now, you say there that Bond had not considered thoroughly the MERAS manuals and the drawings.
Which
Paragraph 13.
Yes.
How do you know that?
Sorry.
How do you know that?
When you go to the MERAS, I can tell it to you as an example.
Well, no, you've said that Bond didn't consider thoroughly the manuals.
Yes, Bond did not. That's how
How
they
do you know
priced it in the fit-out work.
But how do you know that?
Because it is in the MERAS manual, one of the variations that they are claiming for it. So it means that they have not gone through the manual. That's why they're raising it as a variation. If you want an example, I can bring you.
Yeah, let's have an example then.
Yes, in MERAS manual, it clearly mentions that the landlord walls should be protected with fire-rated gypsum board hash cement board. Bond is claiming for that.
Where's that? So you've given an example. Where is that in the trial bundle?
I don't know how to. Where is it? But I know it is there in the MERAS manual, which is part of the contract. Now, if the contract is part of the full bundle, it is allocated there, and I can take you to that page.
Well,
It says item 5.2, if I'm not wrong, in the MERAS manual's last page.
Mr. Vivaro, this raises a question. The two witness statements refer to defendants' exhibit numbers. They don't mean anything in terms of the trial bundle. So at some point, I think it would be helpful if you could provide to me marked up versions of your witness statements showing where those documents are in the trial bundle.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Back to you, Mr. Landers.
Thank you. A bit further on down the page, you say at paragraph 16 that you only approved about 10% of the variations.
Yes.
That's not true, is it?
This is 10% of the submitted variations related to the fit-out works. If you go through the total number of the variation of the fit-out works which they've submitted,
Yes.
you can see the approved ones.
Where-
If I'm not wrong, like a 10%.
Where will I find that in the trial bundle?
Again, I have to sit with Mr. Barbara and forward it to you.
You were in court earlier when Dr. Khalil was taken to a couple of variations, and you might recall that they don't contain time limits.
Sorry.
You remember that the variations that I took Dr. Khalil to don't have time limits for the completion of the works.
What I remember is that when variations were coming from Bond for us, we were sitting having internal meetings, going through them, commenting on them, sending them to the office and having them signed. Now there may be not durations in all of the variations, but what I know that each variation, yes, of course it is an additional item which is getting added to the contract. I do agree with that.
Yes.
But where have they referred to the time that they want? Did they submit a program for it?
Well, there were programs.
Have they mentioned that variation number in their EOT? Have they given us a written by email or whatever? No, because these were subjects that were also discussed on site. And as you can see, those variations, yes, I do agree with you that you're saying it needs additional time, but if you look at the time frame of variations and you go through the actual condition of the site, again, this is something that, this process is all going through MEP, but if you compare it with the fit-out works and see the condition of the fit-out work, it is nothing that is causing an additional time period to the job, because already the fit-out is already on delay.
And where have you referred to that in your statement?
I have referred it, this one, you can refer it on 30th of August 2020, letter 2756, page 2756.
Sorry,
I don't know if it is my statement or not. But now that we're just like we're
But
talking,
it's not in your statement though. That's,
which one?
well, I've got your statement here, and there's no reference to the 30th of August.
No.
Sorry, you were referring to a document. Which document was that?
Just a second, please. I was referring to the page 2756, but it is not in my.
This is a letter of the 3rd of August 2020.
Yeah. 1 second. Yes.
And what did you want? I'll withdraw that. Can I take it to page 2888?
2000.
2888.
Yes.
You'll see that's an email from Mr. Kumar,
Just a second, please.
and it's addressed
I'm
to
sorry, can 228.
28888.
Yes.
Do you recall seeing that email?
Dated. Yes, I.
Do you remember the meeting with Mr. Kumar?
I remember we had a meeting not only with Mr. Kumar, with MEP team, with the Bond Interiors team together regarding this.
And that wasn't the only meeting that you had in that period, is it?
Sorry?
That wasn't the only meeting you had with Bond in that period, is
No,
it?
in that period we had a lot of meetings with. And us also requesting for the fit out final inspection request to be raised, inspected and commented.
Where is that in? So
These are internal meetings that Mr. Ajay maybe can recall.
where is that in this email? You'll see that it goes for a number of pages. So
Yeah,
please
this was the
scroll through.
continuity of item 2. So I need to share the snag list by this week. After that, we said we will sit and we'll go through it and make a snag list with attendance of both parties.
And
which
did that
never
occur?
happened.
Did you share that snag list?
It never the site work never happened, and we didn't have for this one the snag list. We
Wait.
had our addition. We had another snag list forwarded to them by the office, but not on the particular dates that you have over there.
But I don't see in that 1 to 4 for civil scope a statement that the works aren't completed.
Yeah, but you see, Deepak Kumar CC'd in the email, which Deepak was one of the guys that was continuing for the fit out with us.
No, but you've just said that the works weren't done.
Yes.
And the first one is PC value is agreed for main contract with 10% retention. That isn't consistent with work still being required.
Sorry, I didn't understand your question. Can you repeat your question, please?
You've said that this document shows that the works for the fit-out contract weren't done. And I'm asking you to point to the part of that email that says that.
have an answer for this.
Well, you can't point to it because it's not there. Do you accept that?
Your question is that was the civil works completed in this period or not?
Well, no, your evidence was that this email contains a statement that the civil works weren't done. And I've asked you to point out...
Yes, the snagging were not done.
How is snagging...
It is part of your defect, it's part of the defect liability and the snag list period. And the snag list,
So,
finalizing the snag list. Even now, if you come to the trial...
So I'm going to put a couple of propositions to you.
Yes.
The first is, for the defect liability period to commence, TOC must have occurred.
Yes.
And you received the TOC on the 28th of December.
Yes.
You did, was it signed?
No. Because the
No.
TOC never had... Can I? Or...
No, I've asked the question. So we're in snag list territory, which means we're in the defect liability period.
Yes.
When did the defect liability period commence?
Bond as a contractor is supposed to raise an inspection request, confirm to the client that my job is completed, come and inspect it. Did they raise an inspection request to the consultant or the architect or any of our management?
That's in the TOC.
The TOC comes after those are done. The TOC should and must have an original guarantee and warranty certificate. It never had that in it for any of the item, none of the equipment, none of the paint works, nothing. The flooring, none of them original documents signed and stamped was handed over. So how do you expect us to accept the TOC?
Where have you said that in the correspondence?
I have not said it. I am telling it now. I
You're
do
just making
apologize
this-
for that.
You're making this up, aren't you? The documents were provided to you.
Sorry, I'm an engineer and a project manager. I'm not making this up. This is a fact. The TOC, getting approval of TOC needs these into it.
I'll take you back to your document from December 2021.
Can I have the page?
Just a second. Go to 3155.
3155.
You're copied in on that, aren't you?
Yes.
Do you see Form 13 Final Fit-Out Inspection Closeout Documents? And reconsider your earlier evidence that that never occurred.
I haven't seen this attachment. I have not opened.
That's inconsistent with the evidence you just gave, that no final fit-out inspection occurred. Isn't that right?
Well, is it attached to the TOC?
It's predating the TOC. It's the 19th of December 2021.
Yes.
So you accept that there was a final fit-out inspection that occurred.
No, I do not. It was not carried out. The final inspection was not carried out. Maybe
What's
they have.
that document then?
Maybe it is the one that they've done it with the Meras, which you already showed to Dr. Khalili, but neither our consultant, me,
Where's
James,
the
or-
obligation for that under the contract?
There is no. If there is, can they show us their snag list commented by us, or at least submitted to us, received by us?
Where's the snag list?
They have a lot of papers.
Where's the snag list?
Snag list comes from them. They need to request us to do the snag. They haven't never requested for an inspection, final inspection. When there's no final inspection request, how do you want us to send them the snag list? There's no inspection technically for any of the areas independently.
So if you go to 3151,
Sorry.
3151,
3151.
now you're copied in on that email as well. And there you see that there's a link to the base built issued snagging list. Now, do you want to reconsider your earlier evidence that there was no snagging list provided?
MEP, yes. Fit outs,
Where
it
does that
wasn't. MEP, yes. Fit outs, no. Can you open the attachment? For MEP, yes, MEP inspection request, sorry, MEP snag list was given, MEP snags were rectified, MEP rectified snags were stamped and signed by both parties, Meros and us. For the fit out, no, I do not agree that.
Where has the defendant written to Bond and said, you haven't provided a snagging list?
I have to check and come back to you.
Well, no. Do you?
It's not in my statement. I have to go and check and come back to you.
So you've got no memory of that occurring?
That's the, well, yeah. If you want me to tell you where, no, I don't know where. In the correspondences, which we can gather and send it as an.
No, but the time is now. You're giving evidence now.
I do not have it.
As you sit here now,
Can you show us your inspections, your submitted inspection or your final
well,
inspection?
it doesn't work like that.
You don't have it as well because it was never submitted. There's no way you can find for fit out.
Where is that in the correspondence?
I do not have it in the correspondence.
So your evidence is that you're saying these things never occurred, but that was never the subject of correspondence.
I can give you a correspondence and a document of something that is available. If something is not available, I cannot come and tell you, okay, this was the inspection request and we didn't sign it. When they didn't submit a final inspection, I do not have a record. Now you're telling me where did I
just
let them
showed you
know?
the final fit-out inspection document
That
that is
is
sent to you.
That is the one that most probably has been carried out by Meros, and for the MEP, yes,
Well,
we do
where's
have.
the separate requirement for?
I have to go look through
Well, it doesn't
and come
exist,
back
does
to
it?
you.
Where is it in the contract?
Which one?
Well, you've said that this is an obligation. Where is it in the contract?
You can go to the final handover and check that the close of the final handover.
Where do I find that?
It's in the contract.
Okay. Where have you said that that's not been done?
What has not been done? There are several emails from Dr. James and from ATA and from Treehouse to Bond. There are two, especially in the time that we're talking about the final closeout.
Where are they in the trial bundle?
I don't know. Do you have it? I don't.
Well, you're the.
If I
You'll
have
give me-
time, I can get. If I have it, I don't know, like half a day, yes, I can get all of them and send them.
I
to you.
suggest to you that that correspondence doesn't exist.
I cannot say yes or no.
Thank you.
What I can show you are the defects that they're still laying there on the project. That I can come and show you.
Okay, let's go to a bit of correspondence that will resolve this issue. Page 3,148.
3,100.
And 48.
Yes.
First point. 19 December, the inspection report was submitted for your review, confirming all snags have been cleared. No response. Final snag report on the 19th of January 22. All snag lists inspected and confirmed. Do you see that? 17 May 22. First snag list. No rectification required by bond. And then 12th of July 22, another snag list, though no access has been given. So, do you want to reconsider your earlier evidence
No, I do not.
that there was no snag
No,
list?
I will not. I'm telling again. Snag list
It
for
says snag list, civil and MEP.
It is not civil, it is MEP.
It's both. Look
You
at the
do
top.
not have the civils. No, I do not
Where is it?
reconciliate my comment. I still stand on it that we never had a
Mr.
final.
Adelan, I suggest to you
Gentlemen,
that you are...
Sorry, this has to be transcribed. If you both speak together, the transcriber won't be able to do that. So please wait until the other one has finished before you speak.
Yes,
Mr. Landis, you were going to ask a question.
thank you. Mr. Adelan, I suggest to you that your evidence is not correct, that snag lists were prepared for both civil and MEP, and as demonstrated by that letter that you've got in front of you, that snag list was covered off by the claimant. Do you accept that, yes or no?
For the MEP 100%, yes. For the fit out, I cannot confirm to you.
It says civil. It says both.
Sorry, I really don't remember.
Thank you. Could I have a moment, Your Honour?
Yes, certainly.
No further questions, Your Honour.
Thank you. Mr. Vivaro, do you have any re-examination?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Your Honor, just a clarification.
Yes.
And document included in page, numbered in page 2841. Do you? Can you, first of all, I'd like to know if you know the content of this letter, Engineer Ardalan. Did you know? Did you open it?
Can I have a minute, please? Just 1 second. Let me just.
Yes, please. Want to be sure that you open the page.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'd like you clarify the meaning of what is included here. So the only snagging that has been carried out from your end was the MEP comments received from the landlord, FM division. So if you could please clarify better the meaning of this
MEP is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, which is the
Sorry?
the first MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, which is one of the contracts that Bond has, and then we have the civil works, the fit-out works. Over here it's stated that the MEP snags has been carried on, but not the civil works, not the fit-out works. That's what's stating here.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Vivaro?
Anything else? It's okay, fine.
Thank you,
Done.
Mr. Bashari. That completes your evidence. You're free to leave the witness box. You can stay for the hearing or leave as you wish. Now, gentlemen, as I understand, that completes the factual evidence.
Yes, Your Honour.
All right, well, there's nothing we can usefully do for the rest of the day, I assume, so we'll resume at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning for the expert evidence, and we'll follow the course that I described yesterday.
And it's the two.
The two witnesses, so they've been set up so that the witnesses can sit in each of those boxes. Just to recap, half an hour opening statement each, then Mr. Vivaro will cross-examine your witness, then you and I can ask questions, they can and invite the other to comment. Then the same happens in reverse. Then there's a time for me to ask more questions, they can ask questions of each other, then re-examination.
Yes.
All right. All right, well, if there's nothing else, we'll adjourn now until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. And as I say, your homework, Mr. Vivaro, is to produce those witness statements with the reference to the documents in the trial bundle. Good. All right. We'll adjourn now until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you.